Now, this is just completely spitballing here, not based on any actual fact or expertise.
Of course.
But if, stop laughing, if, would the key not be a state like Nevada, which is, of course, where they stage some of the bigger events? It's known as a fight state in both boxing and MMA. Would it not be the place to start when it comes to something like that, where it would maybe be sort of a trickle-down effect to the other, states and provinces after that?
Well, look, Nevada is one of the leaders in the sport, and they could start pushing these things, but they can't put them into effect, really, unless the other states would agree. And the UFC is not going to start playing by those rules. They could add that rule if they wanted to. The state of Nevada could say, okay, from now on, in mixed martial arts fights, you can have a yellow card system. You could do that in the state of Nevada, but the UFC probably wouldn't adopt it unless everybody adopted it, and the UFC would want to do that. So I think you really have to get it across the board. I think the UFC maybe has to push for it, but also get all the commissions together. It would be nice if there was some sort of international regulatory body for everyone, so that there would be someone at the top.
Much like the IIHF in hockey and so forth.
It would be nice for mixed martial arts. Right now, it's not done that way. It's for the different athletic commissions. But, places like Nevada and California are really at the forefront of making those rule changes. It was in Nevada that they first said that non-title fights could be 5 rounds, which is something that we hadn't seen up until a year or two ago, that, it was 3 rounds, 5 minutes each, 15 minutes for non-title fights, and only championship fights could go 5-minute rounds. But now, the state of Nevada passing regulations saying, no, now, if it's a main event, if it's a big fight, even if it's not for a title, it could be 5-minute rounds, and all the other states and all the other provinces are adopting that regulation as well, and that is what has led the UFC to do that with non-title fights. So something like that could happen. It'll just take a few of the commissions to step up, make the rules, and then the other commissions to follow suit around the world, and then the UFC would adopt something like that.
Talking some MMA with Dave Simon here on the show. Dave, final question for you. What was good about the pay-per-view card last night? Give me a fight or a moment or something, because obviously, like you said, it's a bit disappointing last night. Yeah,
I mean, we did see some impressive finishes. We did see Matthew Riddle on the main pay-per-view card with an unbelievable arm triangle choke of Chris Clements. The guy grabbed the arm triangle choke standing and pulled him down. Now, I know that you don't quite understand what an arm triangle is, but for those of you that didn't see the fight, that understand jiu-jitsu and the arm triangle choke, he picked it from a standing position, locked the guy's arm and neck up standing, dragged him down to the mat.
That's hard to even fathom standing.
Well, I'll show it to you during the break. I'll do it to you. Don't worry.
Thanks.
And then he dragged him down to the mat and squeezed in the pressure and finished the fight. It was just an unbelievable submission. It won him submission of the night. Also, a local Canadian fighter, Mitch Gagnon, had one hell of a fight with Brian Caraway. That was in the prelims on TV, but it was good for Gagnon, who was the ringside featherweight champion here in Montreal. I'd seen many of his professional fights. A good kid out of Sudbury, Ontario. He got his UFC debut last night. He lost, but he did pick up $65,000 for the fight of the night bonus, so that was the bright side. And in the main event, it was Hanan Barao defeating Uriah Faber in not the most exciting fight. He won a unanimous decision over 5 rounds to become the new UFC interim bantamweight champion.
All right. There you go. By the way, the prelims, as I was flipping, saw Joe Rogan talking with Dana White. I don't know what's happened to this guy, but every time I see him, whether it's, usually a few months elapses between seeing him.
Are we talking about Joe Rogan or Dana White?
No, Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
He's getting, I don't know. He's not looking good.
He's yoked. He's on that alpha brain.
I don't know. He looks like he just came off.
The cordyceps mushrooms
he looks like
taken.
the movie Hangover? He looks like he lives it. I don't know.
Joe Rogan lives a very clean lifestyle. You'd be surprised. Wow. I listened to his podcast, which is excellent, by the way. And he lives a very clean lifestyle.
He looks like he's sweating. He looks
got
like
me drinking this coconut water. It's not great, but it's very good for you. So I'm drinking it because of Joe Rogan.
More importantly, is Dana White buying the CFL? You saw that powwow on Friday night or Thursday night where him and Commissioner Cohan were chatting it up?
In Calgary, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
How much would the CFL cost? Like $20?
There you go. There, you should have had a rim shot for yourself there, Dave.